Hello everybody, this is Kaz. 今日は日本文化についてですね、話をしたいと思います。特に日本の学校、Japanese School ということで、もしね、if you have any questions, let me know. 質問がありましたらぜひ教えてください。I feel like when I speak Japanese, I kind of mumble. もう一回はっきり言います。日本語の、ちょっと待って、日本の文化の話をしますが、If you have any questions, please let me know. ですね。My wife thinks that、my Japanese is sometimes not super clear, or especially when I say Japanese she thinks I'm saying it a little off, because Japanese person would say, I would say, あそこ、あっち, as opposed to あっち. So I don't know if that's right. And I think it's because I'm from Hiroshima, Japan, and maybe our is like a little bit. That's what I'm guessing. 日本の学校ですけども、Japanese school. ですね、小学校は6 years です。中学校は3 years です。高校は3 years。そして大学は4 years。なんですけども、アメリカの場合はなんか、小学校は1 to 6。中学校は2 years かな。アメリカの高校は freshman、なんだったっけ、sophomore、junior、senior と4年です。長いですよね。日本の小学校は特徴は楽しい。It's fun。旅行とかもあります。We have a lot of school trips。まあ、遠足っていうのがね、ありますけどね。遠足っていうのは field trips。で、中学校でも we have field trips for middle school kids, I think。遠足っていうのは何が面白いかというと、What's fun about、遠足? By the way, 遠足。遠 means far. 足 means foot. So, far distance, or should I say long distance foot. 遠足。遠足で楽しいのは、You can shop for your snack the previous day. スナックというのは日本語で、間食と言います。間食。間というのは between という意味です。食は食べ物。だから in between food で、英語ではスナックなんですけども。So, one of the entertaining things about Japanese 遠足 school trips, field trips, is that you get to shop for your own snack. As a kid, it's kind of exciting because I feel like in Japan we don't really do any kanshoku, snack food at school. There is no vending machine. And we're not supposed to drink anything, just water. So the idea that we can eat our own snack, like sweets, whatever, during the school time or school time during the school hours, even though even on a school trip, it's so exciting. それでですね、the previous day, we get to shop for our own snack, but each class, the teacher would impose a price limit. おやつ。 price limit。おやつが、僕の時代は my generation。私の世代は、例えば、小学生だったら200円までとかね。The teacher will tell you。もう一回言います。teacher will tell you。先生が言うのは、おやつは200円までとか、300円までとかね。500円までとかっていうのに決めるわけですね。So we would go shop for おやつ snack and try to strategize or try to maximize what we can buy. 例えばですけども、チョコレート1個100円とかだったら、すぐに300円になってしまいますので、You may try to buy small things maybe. This is a big deal because I think some kids rat on you if you are bragging about your snack. And then if it's obvious that you have something more than 300 yen, for example, your friend may rat on you, tell the teacher. すると、良くないわけですね。それでいかに300円とか400円とか、今も500円ぐらいでしょうか。1000円ですかね。いかにそれより下でおやつを買うかというのが大切になってきます。But the boundary between おやつ and some other things is kind of, how do you say, blurry. One time, I have my own おやつ, which was within the budget of probably 300 yen. But my mom put a piece of banana in my bento box. And my classmates saw that, and then I think he told the teacher, Kaz brought おやつ snack and a banana. So I got into trouble here. I was in trouble because obviously a banana would put my how to say budget above the budget, my spending above the budget. So that's how you get into trouble. It's kind of funny. I feel like it's so like every year somebody gets into trouble. ひかりちゃんさんはね、おやつって書いていただきましたけども、Hiroshi Wada, hi, how's it going? Love the subject of this video, learning about Japanese culture here that you can't learn from just reading books. はい。I think every Japanese citizens, let me say that again. Every Japanese citizen has a story to tell about this おやつ spending limit. よりこさん、いつもお世話になっております。I still remember the excitement I felt when I was told I could bring snacks. Snacks です。つきますか snack. I had a snack. なんか、there's so much excitement about being able to bring your own snack. I felt the same when I came to the United States, and it was okay to drink Coke over dinner. Like for us, Japanese food, meals, Japanese meal is all about something salty usually. There may be some sweet things, but usually we don't really eat anything sweet at dinner table. Do you agree? So for me, it was not conceivable to drink Coke or pop or soda during a meal. というわけで、so this idea of, oh, you can bring snack to school? It's so exciting. Do you agree on that one? So, in Japanese, 日本語では、おやつの、how do you describe this thing? おやつの、how do I say this in Japanese? There's a limit to おやつ allowance that you can spend. 日本語では、おやつを 例えば、500円以上買ってはいけません。That's the rule. Actually, another excitement was when we have a long distance trip. 小学校では sixth graders would go to a far away place. Like for us in Hiroshima, we would go to Kyoto, Osaka, or Kyushu. High school kids in Hiroshima would go to Tokyo. Nowadays people may go to Hokkaido, Okinawa, all those far places. And this is one of the major exciting events in Japan, because this time you get to bring your own allowance for buying souvenirs and for buying things. And ひろゆきさんどうですか？エキサイトメントが楽しいですよね。修学旅行とかね。Like literally everybody from the school take the trip together. And one little secret that you probably don't know is that how do we manage to have everybody pay for the trip? So when you become a first grader, you bring 給食費。給食費 means school lunch. You have to bring a school lunch fee every month. And they charge a small portion, additional fee to, to accumulate over 5 years, like 6 years, 5 years and a half maybe. So you end up paying a little by little every month. And then your homeroom teacher is responsible for saving all the money. Yeah. So little by little, that money accumulates. And by the time you become a sixth grader, you will have saved the amount of money enough, sufficient for taking a trip together with other people. これは、多分日本、どこでも同じじゃないかと思いますけども、いかがでしょうか。アメリカではそういうことはありえないように思いますけどね。普通に引っ越しをするのでね。まあこのような、文化的制度って言いますかね。あれ、コメントいただきました。Ohio ではIn my middle school in Ohio, we had a field trip to Gettysburg in 8th grade. 遠いとこまで行きましたね。Gettysburg ってこの DC の近くでしょうね。ね。It's near here, I think. ハリークさんありがとうございます。マーディ・ヨサフさんありがとうございます。Love your content. It's fun, thank you. 5ドルいただきました。Carrie Van, interesting subject. Did you take trains or charter buses? Palik, yes, I think it's on there. Yes. Carrie さんがね、asked a really good question. Did you take trains or charter buses? 実は新幹線です。新幹線、普通はね、usually 新幹線。And then after 新幹線, like in my case, I think I was a sixth grader, so the whole cohort of kids took Shinkansen. And Yoriko-san, you're from Osaka area, kind of, What was so exciting for me, you won't believe this. If you're from Ohio or other places, you won't believe this. The first thing that I was so excited that Shinkansen approaches Osaka area, and I see a huge, vast, flat land. The first time in my life to see such a big land, and it was so exciting because I'm from Hiroshima, and as you know, mountains are so close to the coastline, so there's only a tiny little land in Hiroshima, my countryside, hometown. The first time I see Osaka, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. That's like one of my first, oh my God, this is incredible moments of my life. The first time I saw the heiya in Japanese, flat なんて言いますかね、平野っていうかね。平野 means flat land that goes on forever. Incredible. そして、新幹線がね、ちょっと傾くんですよ。新幹線 kind of, how do you say, tilts a little bit. And then it was so exciting for a kid. Everybody's like, oh my god, this is exciting, amazing, and it's so fast. だからまあ新幹線ですね。はい。その後はバス。And after that, you take a bus together. It's like maybe for the school full of kids, maybe we get like 3 or 4 buses, and each one of them has a nice bus guide. So you get to spend with this, they are like young ladies in their 20s, and you kind of form a bond with bus guide-san, tour guide. And then it's so insanely fun. We sing songs in the bus, and the teacher would entertain us, and we would entertain by singing. And bus guide-san, it's so fun to see somebody so young, and you know how it's kind of exciting as a kid when somebody like a young person joins you. It is so exciting. They're fun. It's really fun. ちょっと見てみましょうかね。Kansai kids get excited to see Mount Fuji from Shinkansen bound for Tokyo. That's amazing. I think even foreign people who have been to Japan, you probably remember the first time you saw Mount Fuji while you were riding a Shinkansen. YSF memories. Oh, hey, Kansai holds live events. Live events like this one? Yes, recently, yes. I had a little bit of time now. I have to go in 20 minutes, but というわけで, so I'm talking about a school trip in Japan, or school culture. We have this major event called 修学旅行. And I like this term, word, 修学旅行, because 旅行 is a trip, but it's not just a trip. It's 修学. どういう意味でしょうか? 修学 learning trip, like a study trip. 修 means 収める. 収める is to learn and master. 学 is study. So combined, 修学旅行 means like a study trip. And it is really a study trip because, you get to see so many things. And usually prior to a trip, you kind of prepare as I think many kids who go to Hiroshima prior to the trip, they would study the history of the war, or, about the museum and all those things. And they usually prepare a song to sing in front of the peace memorial kind of thing. So it really is part of your study. I feel like every Japanese person has this big memory about school trips, how exciting it is. But my dad, he's like 82 years old, and he had 7 other brothers and sisters, and he was born even before the war. So they were so poor, and my dad couldn't go to the school trip because they didn't have the money to pay. So later on, his youngest brother got a good job, and he worked for Panasonic, and he somehow managed to get a good job in Britain. He was dispatched to live in Britain. It was about 20 years ago or something. And then it's nice of him. My uncle Kiyo is like, hey brother, my dad, you couldn't make it to the school trip when you were a kid, so I want to invite you and another sister of his, Humi-san, for a trip to Britain. So they were so excited because they missed this 修学旅行 as a kid. But their youngest brother, managed to invite them to visit him in Britain. This probably was like 30 years ago, and they had their own 修学旅行. Yeah. Anyway, so I can't say every Japanese citizen has this experience. Sometimes, when Japan was still poor, there were lots of kids who couldn't do this, I think. But recent generations, I think every one of us. Okay, so よりこさんどうもいつもお世話になっておりますけども、in Shinkansen cars, you can turn 3-seat rows around, so 6 kids can sit in a group. It's so much fun to play card games together. そうなんですよ。なるほど、なるほど。ね。新幹線って言ったらもうすごいですよね。子供にとってはね。遠足があって新幹線。それからね、これは小学校の6年生、6th grader event。ですけども、中学校でもね、あるんですよ。We kind of repeat. For middle school, you again have 修学旅行。I think usually during the second year of their study. And high school too. It's either during their second year or the third final year of high school. So every Japanese person knows where they have been. So we may ask each other, 小学校の修学旅行どこ行った? Like, where did you go for your 修学旅行 trip when you are a sixth grader? Or 高校生の、中学校2年生、多分3年生の時もあるかもしれないですね。そして高校生、2年生か3年生。So everybody has been to 修学旅行 3 times. So next time you meet a Japanese person, you can ask, 修学旅行はどこに行きましたか、ね、聞いてみてください。これ、one of the topics that we kind of talk about, I think. 面白い質問 Thank you. That's a great question, actually. And one of my favorite stories is when this was during the middle school 修学旅行. And I forgot where it was. I think in Kyushu, Kumamoto maybe. We got off the school bus and my friend, what's his name? I forgot his name. There was another group of students from a different school, and they looked like they came from somewhere like, I don't know, I have no idea, maybe far away from Tokyo. And they were speaking their own dialect. And my friend, he yelled at them, you guys have accent or something. Your Japanese is strange, but he said it in Hiroshima Ben. He said, Omera namachordo. And then I told him, you also have accent too. Because Omera means omaetachi. And namatte imasu yo means you have accent or you have such a strange way of talking. And he said, Omera namachordo. And that was very entertaining for me. So I told him, you also have accent too. Yeah. So maybe did that happen to you too when you were a kid and traveling and then you listened to different types of English maybe? Yeah, dialects. Kansai Ben is fun to listen to. Well, so I talked about ensoku and then shugaku ryoko. And what else do we have? なんかもう一個あったような気がするんですけどね。地元の工場に見学に行くっていうのがありまして、これなんて言うんだったっけ？なんとか見学？ That's like a study tour. We also have 2 nearby factories and places. Yeah, Kansai Ben is really fun to listen to. And for me, as I was growing up, I used to watch comedies, and comedians spoke Kansai Ben. So for me, it's like a comedic language. Yeah. 校外学習ってのありましたかね？校外学習ね、野村さんね。 校外 means outside of school, and 学習 is study. So 校外学習. I think I didn't use that language, I think, that expression. 校外学習. なんだったかな? I know in America they have field trips, I think. But I have no idea when my son went to those field trips. I don't even remember. But, yeah. Carrie says, yes, I learned English in northern WI, Wisconsin, with many French spelling and pronunciation that moved to the deep south, southern drawl, and new words. キョンキョンさん、どうもありがとうございます。Exactly, that's what I'm looking for, I think. 社会見学. To me, it wasn't 社会科見学. It was just 社会見学, I think. Yoriko-san, Japanese people who come to Osaka first time get surprised to hear how Japan railway clerks talk. JR clerks, they have very different accents when they say numbers. Like 1,2,3,4,5. In Osaka, they would say, 何でしたっけ ?1,2,3,4 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, let me explain this. Like when we count in a lazy way, we go in Hiroshima, Nishirohato, meaning, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's our lazy way of counting by 2. And I think in Hiroshima, we would go Nishirohato. But in Kyoto, in Osaka, they would go Nishirohato. So we have different ways. Yeah. Yoriko-san says, try to say 150 yen in Kansai accent. 広島では150円. How would you say 150円 in Kansai? ちょっと I can't even remember. Wouldn't it be the same? 150円? Anyway, to come back to the topic of school events. 運動会ね. School athletic meet, which happens usually in October, I think. 運動会は、秋にあります。I think we split the school into 白組、赤組, white team and red team, and then we kind of compete, I believe. Like within the same grade level, you split into 白組 and then 赤組. And every time we do something on the school ground, I think it's just one event at a time. It's not like multiple things are happening at the same time, but we have a school ground and then they just do something one by one. And every time something happens, they would add numbers, scores to the scoreboard so that you can tell if a white team is winning or red team is winning. 運動会ですね。Yeah. 100, 500円. 500円. That's true. If it's 500 yen, I would say 500円. And then you would say 500円. Yeah. That's true. Tokyo Model Detective. The sports day is split into different class from A, B, C. So you guys compete in between homeroom membership? ね。なんか日本はね、担任制度っていうのがあるんですよ。We have a homeroom teacher, and then you have a sense of who is in your class. アメリカだとなんか I'm not even sure. I think my son would go to school, and then he has like the first meeting where everybody else is there, and there's some general discussion of the day or something, I think. Yeah. Yeah, people have been talking about how to read or how to say numbers, and you say numbers differently. Yeah. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say, but well, the reason why we have different way of reading numbers is, let's say one. It's kind of hard to read one syllable word differently just because you're from South or you're from New York. Just one. But Japanese word for it is ichi, and there's two. So there's a larger number of, I say how to read it, like ichi. Because of two syllables, you get to have like a variety of possibilities. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. All these are one syllable words. And how can you read them differently? It's hard. 東京モデルディテクティブさん。Greetings from Chiba. どうもありがとうございます。千葉県。I'm gonna have to go in a couple of minutes because I have to teach. まあそういうわけでね、日本の学校の話をしましたけれども、なんか日本人にとっては当たり前のことなんですけどね、修学旅行とか。でも外国の人にとってそういうのがあるっていうのは、聞かないとわからないですよね。遠足の時のおやつの話もしましたけどね。Carry Van. I teach high school science. We do whole grades compete against other grades during a spirit week. Class who wins most sporting events win the spirit pattern. I have led trips also. We had karaoke. 楽しそうですね。Sounds fun. 実は、one of the words that I learned just because my son went to a high school and he finished it already, but聞いたことがない単語。chaperone or something. Like you have to volunteer to be a chaperone or chaperone as a parent. I never heard that word before until I heard it. In Japanese, 引率かな chaperone ですかね。聞いたことがなかった。Never heard that expression before. それって、is it only for parents? Like, you volunteer to be, I don't know if I'm reading it correctly, chaperone? Chaperone or chaperone. Maybe chaperone. Greeting from Sweden. Do you know how would you do the calculation with numbers in your head? Is it going to take longer time than using other languages? By the way, my Swedish hero is Yngwie Malmsteen, guitarist. He lives in Miami now. I'm not sure numbers in my head. I can't do numbers in my head well. I'm getting a lot of questions, but I'm going to have to go soon. Because I'm teaching at 9 and it's 8:56 p.m. But let me try to read what you wrote. Chaperone. As in cap. Chaperone. Escorting other contexts. Not just school related. なるほど。Just means you watch the kids and make sure they don't run off, do stuff they aren't supposed to. Chaperone just means guiding someone. Yes, I think a bad habit that we have, the bad habit we have in Japan is that we kind of take a word like chaperone and think that, this means this, like in a specific context. Just like there's this word building in Japanese, and we tend to think building as the building made with concrete. So we don't think a wooden made house as a building, but actually a building is just building. So chaperone is the same way. Just because I heard it in the context of school, I feel like, oh, chaperone should mean this in this specific context. All right, I'm going to have to go, but thank you. Let me read this one again. Okay, thank you. Sorry about not addressing this issue of mental calculations, but maybe next time. どうもありがとうございました。Yes, English vocab is pretty flexible. It is. それではまた。Thank you.